Orchestra, the Bossa Deans, the National President, and other distinguished guests. Our guest lecturer is also here with us in the procession. We thank you very much, led by the Vice Chancellor. Please, let's be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please, shall we stand up for the national anthem, please? Ladies and gentlemen. After the count of 2, 1, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a wonderful rendition of the national anthem by our superb students of St. University of Offa. Thank you very much. We now move to the opening prayer, as I humbly want to hand over the mic to the national missioner in our midst this evening, Sheikh Abaman Ahmed, to please lead us in the opening prayer. Bismillah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As-salatu was-salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanallah والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا صراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين آمين آمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. صلوا على النبي الكريم.
Thank you very much, sir. Shall we please be seated? Ladies and gentlemen, now straight to the next item on the agenda, and that is introduction of dignitaries. I'm happy this evening to welcome heartily to welcome profusely the National President of Ansar-ud-Deen Society of Nigeria, the proprietor of Summit University of Offa. We're happy to receive him this evening. This is not the first time he's coming to Summit University, of course, but today he's here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, the National President and visitor to the Summit University of Offa, Aare Dr. Rafiu Adesanya. Please let's put our hands together for him. These are the owners of Summit University of Offa. Next to be introduced is, of course, the Vice Chancellor of Summit University of Offa, in person of Engineer Professor Babatunde Munir Ogunsanwo. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and honor to introduce the guest lecturer of today, Aare of Raymond Land, Babatunde of Otolori Islamic Foundation, Iwo, Professor Ogunsanwo Babatunde Munir. From Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agoiwoye, Ogun State, Nigeria. You are welcome, sir. We have the acting registrar with us this evening. The acting registrar, Malam Mustafa Kadri, you are welcome this evening, sir. Another acting principal officer of the university, acting bursar, Alhaji Ibrahim Lukman. The National Missioner Ansar-ud-Deen Society of Nigeria, the man who prayed for us, Sheikh Abdurrahman Ahmad. Let me seize this opportunity to quickly welcome members of Ansar-ud-Deen Society of Nigeria from Lagos State Council. Please let's continue to clap for them.
All praise due to Allah for making today a reality. Let me seize this opportunity to welcome you all to Summit University of Offa and to the mother of all lectures. Today's lecture promises to be incisive, educative, informative, enlightening, and a rewarding experience. We also want to welcome classy of high-profile personalities to this momentous and historic event. In fact, today's lecture is first of its kind in the history of Summit University of Offa. Clap for Summit University, please. Today we should expect nothing but excellence delivery from an international scholar of repute and an erudite professor. He's a man of oratorical power and persuasions. I've listened to him talk on a number of occasions, so I know what I'm saying. His immense intellect and impeccable pedigree. Sir, once again, you are welcome to Summit University of Offa this evening. Well, let me now go to the next item on the program because of time. I now invite the Vice Chancellor of Summit University of Offa. Once again, with respect, Vice Chancellor, Engineer Professor Babatunde Munir Ogunsanwo to the podium, sir.
President, ADSN, and the visitor to the university, Aare Dr. Rafiu Adesanya, the Vice President, ADSN, Lagos State Council, the Vice President, ADSN, Northern State Council, the Vice President, ADSN, Ogun State Council, the Vice President, ADSN, Oyo State Council, the Vice President, ADSN, Osun State Council, the Vice President, ADSN, Ondo State Council, the Vice President, ADSN, Ekiti State Council, National Secretary, ADSN, Alhaji Iskil Ola Yusuf, National Missioner, ADSN, Sheikh Abdulrahman Hamad, Chairperson, National Women Council, Alhaja S.A. Animation, Chairman, BOT, unavoidably absent today, Representative, Chairman of the Council, Professor Nurey Tanimo, Chairman, ADSN Offa Zone, Alhaji Saad, Chairman, ADSN Offa Branch, Alhaji Ayotola Zakaria, Chairperson, ADSN Offa Branch, Alhaja Muslimat Olatiwo, Commandant, Nigerian Navy, School of Earth Sciences, Offa, Rector, Federal Polytechnic, Offa, Rector, Lens Polytechnic, Offa, Provost, Kwara State College of Air Technology, Offa, Rector, Graceland Polytechnic, Offa, Rector, Federal Polytechnic, Ayede, the acting bursar, the acting bursar, dean, directors, acting coordinators, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is with great pleasure I welcome you all to the maiden edition of the University Open Lecture here in Summit University of Kwara State. This week has been a roller coaster of events, as it has been awesome all the way. Today will not be an exception, inshallah.
It will be a tool of immense advantage listening to our erudite and distinguished scholar, Professor Babatunde Munir Ogunsanwo FCSN, FIDPMN, as you are assured of leaving here a complete whole. Professor Ogunsanwo is a seasoned academic and active member of Ansar-ud-Deen Society of Nigeria. And he has been for several decades. And again, I need to mention that he is a member of the Governing Council of the University. Maiden University Open Lecture. The maiden edition of our University Open Lecture titled Reaching for the Summit, a Catalytic Entrepreneurial Pathway to the Sun, is first of its kind. The Open Lecture is intended to be a public lecture series for educating the public on several matters arising on special field, mostly in the academic terrain. Summit University of Kwara State, Son Offa, as we all know, is toward developing innovations and inventions that will be changing the way we live in our communities, defend our nation, and work in Africa. Therefore, public lecture is one of those tools deployed to answer our vision. You will recollect the Summit University of our family just concluded the capacity development workshop, premising the commencement of the grant won with the title Artificial Intelligence for Females in STEM, the 2022 to 2024 Higher Educational Partnership in Sub-Saharan Africa, funded by the Royal Academy of Engineering, United Kingdom, a feat where Igbo dare not. The workshop was all-encompassing, exposing us to the bolts and nuts of grantmanship, research, teaching sustainability and fund generation, internationalization, and also taking cognizance of the skills to be acquired in Summit University, which include financial literacy, clean and renewable energy, family and leadership skill, artificial intelligence and ICT skill, academpreneurship, history, heritage and storytelling, and Islam and global citizenship. The aforementioned vision and skills are the hallmark of Summit University of Kwara State, Nigeria. They are geared towards taking Summit University of Kwara State, Nigeria to be the beacon of light. As we welcome our professor, be attentive and be rest assured that again it will be a whole bundle of knowledge as we take you through the path of a unified whole. Welcome to Summit University of Kwara State. Together we shall illuminate and shine like the sun. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, can do better than that, please. Let's put on together again. For the Vice Chancellor of Summit University. Thank you very much. That was a very wonderful speech, very scintillating speech from the Vice Chancellor of Summit University. Then at this juncture, acknowledge the President of the Chief Imam, Ansar-ud-Deen Society of Nigeria for branch, Alaji Akepe. You are welcome, sir. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, I shall respectfully invite our National President, Dr. Afuni, to please step forward to please deliver his remarks.
Let's do that once again, please. I will repeat it once again, please. We thank Almighty Allah for making this day possible. The Vice Chancellor is today's speaker. Permit me to follow me down protocol. But I will not finish that without greeting the great student of song. God bless you all. Well, it is indeed a pleasure for me to be here today to listen to the eminent scholar that has been invited to give this opening lecture, which is the first in the annals of the history of song. Ladies and thank the management and staff of the university for the tremendous job we've been doing. We are very proud of you. And it is my hope that we continue in this strength. May God continue to bless all of us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Another round of applause for the National President, please. At this juncture, permit me to introduce to the program the acting registrar, Madam Mustafa Kadri, to please continue with the program. Please let's welcome him.
The Vice Chancellor, sir, I want to seek for your permission to carry on with the program. Thank you, sir. I will like to call upon our highly distinguished guest lecturer, Professor Babatunde Munir Ogunsanwo, to stand so that we can while our distinguished professor is standing, the guest lecturer of the maiden edition of Summit University Offa Open Lecture. This is the maiden edition, and the topic is Reaching for the Summits, a Catalytic Entrepreneurial Pathway to the Sun. I would like to call on Mr. Yusuf Sholola to come forward and read the citation for our distinguished guest. Mr. Yusuf Sholola is a lecturer in the Department of Mass Communication, Summit University of Offa. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I stand on the already established protocol. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So here is a citation of Professor Tunde Ogunsanwo FSCN FIDPMN MACS MNEWWA. Professor Tunde Ogunsanwo FCSN FIDPMN MNEWWA is a graduate of the Premier University, the University of Ibadan, a former member of the Governing Council of the Olabisi Onabanjo University, a former chairman of the Committee of Provosts and Deans, a former provost of the Postgraduate School, a former director of academic planning, a former dean of the Faculty of Science, a former chairman, Business Committee of Senate, whose committee cleared backlog of outstanding results across the university between 2001 and 2012, a former coordinator of the pre-degree science program, a former chairman or member of over 38 committees at Olabisi Onabanjo University, a former consultant to the Lagos State Waste Management Authority, a former director of Entrepreneurial Studies and Innovations of the Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agoro Iwe. He is currently a member of the Governing Council of Summit University, Offa, a member of the National Executive Committee of the Ansar-ud-Deen Society of Nigeria, and in fact, the Education Secretary of the Society. He is an external examiner and assessor to some universities, resource personnel to the National Universities Commission, NUC. Professor Ogunsanwo started his career as a graduate assistant at the Chemistry Department of the University of Ibadan in 1980. By virtue of his brilliant performance during his undergraduate studies, he joined the services of the then Open State University in February 1989 as a lecturer too with a PhD, and rose steadily to become an associate professor in October 1997 and a full professor in 2004. The widely traveled man, Professor Ogunsanwo has attended and delivered scientific papers in various parts of the world, and was appointed an international judge in the assessment of the qualities of public water in New England, the United States of America, for 3 consecutive years. A man who has led publications in international journals. Professor Ogunsanwo considers his inaugural lecture titled Between Poison and Prosperity, Waiting on the hallmark of his scientific publications. Awards and distinctions of Professor Ogunsanwo: a Fellow Chemical Society of Nigeria, Fellow Institute of Data Processing Management of Nigeria, National Merit Award of the Ansar-ud-Deen Society of Nigeria, Distinguished Alumni Award, Chemistry Department, University of Ibadan, Remo Secondary School Old Students Association 2006 Merit Award. Award of Honor by the Students Union Government of Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agolwe. Award of Excellence by the Students Chemical Society of Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agolwe. Award of Excellence by FASA, University of Ibadan. Award of Honor by the Students Chemical Society of Bapani Awolowo University, Ilefe. Merit Silver Award of the Manual Club or Olabisi Onabanjo University at Agolwe. Contributions to the nation and international life. Outside the university at various times, Professor Ogunsanwo served as the Director of Odua Investment Corporation, served as the Director of Odua Textile Mills at Ekiti, Council Member, Chemical Society of Nigeria, Member, NEC of Ansar-ud-Deen Society of Nigeria, Chairman, Project Implementation Committee of Summit University, Offa, President, Province Group of Nigeria, Executive Member, Royal Initiatives for the Development of Shagamu Development, RITSCO. A community organizer of repute, Professor Ogunsanwo, who holds the honorary title of Aare Prof of Irolu, Remo, was at one time the president of the prestigious Shagamite Club. He was a former president of Shagamu Development Association, an umbrella body of social clubs, trade groups, and community associations in Shagamu. He is happily married to Chief Mrs. Yetunde Ogunsanwo, the Deputy Registrar Academics of the Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agolwe. Indeed, Professor Ogunsanwo is a man of impeccable character. Please, a round of applause for Professor Ogunsanwo.
Another round of applause for our distinguished Professor Tunde Ogunsanwo, please. The Vice Chancellor, sir, permit me to call on our distinguished lecturer today, Professor Babatunde Munir Ogunsanwo, to present his lecture. Thank you.
In the name of Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, on your behalf, thank Him for His mercy on all of us. The title of our discussion this evening is Reaching for the Summit, a Catalytic Entrepreneurial Pathway to the Sun. Being the first University Open Lecture of Summit University, a visitor to the University and President of Ansar-ud-Deen Society, and Dr. Abdul Rafiu Ademola Sani, members of NEC here present, the National Missioner and members of the National Mission Board here present, the President of the National Union Advisory Council and members present here today, the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Council, Alhaji Rafiu Eriti, who is unavoidably absent, members of the Governing Council, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Musa Irinu, distinguished members of the University Senate, members of staff of the Summit University, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great Summit University students, son of Offa, Greater Summit University student, son of Offa. Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today will indeed be regarded as our Thanksgiving Day. Coincidentally, is the Thanksgiving era all over the world. Summit University today is joining its peers in the academic tradition of Open University Lecture Series. Alhamdulillah. Within the last 1 year, we can all honestly say that we are beginning to build a university that conforms with the dreams of the founding fathers of our university. namely a university that will be second to none, as well as a self-sustaining institution. In this regard, let me salute the unwavering determination of the proprietor to remain focused on the founding vision, as well as the purposeful leadership provided by the governing council. To our vibrant and resourceful pilots, the Vice Chancellor, and his supportive team, I beseech the Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to reward you far beyond your contributions to the university development. Now we are beginning to have a university that is ready to take its rightful position as the primus inter pares. To Allah be the glory. Mr. President, sir, I give gratitude to the Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for being considered to deliver the first open lecture in our university. I'm humbled by this honor, and I thank the Senate of the university for the privilege. The first question we should ask ourselves: why entrepreneurship? Why do you want to listen to a talk of entrepreneurship? University education can be conservatively defined as the development of man in character and knowledge. It is therefore expected to be the peak of various formal education from primary through secondary stages, coupled with the training of the mind to learn to think, to develop those strengths of character we call virtues, in order to acquire a social formation which prepares one for a meaningful living. Any deviation from this, from a conservative lens, is an aberration. In other words, when you want to talk about entrepreneurial in a university setting, especially 40-50 years ago, people will think something is wrong with you. The question therefore is, why are we here to talk about entrepreneurial education in a university? To answer this question, I have decided on a two-pronged position. The first is to ask ourselves some basic questions and provide individual answers privately to ourselves. That is the style of my grandmother when she was alive. When you age, she will ask you certain questions and she will tell you, don't respond to my question. Keep replying to yourself when you are going home. So I'm going to ask some basic questions, but you will answer yourself without telling the person next to you. The second step is to look at some of the advantages of entrepreneurial education. We now go to the first step. The basic question we should be asking ourselves about conventional tertiary education in Nigeria are as follows. 1. Can a graduate apply his knowledge to create employment and thereby contribute to the economic growth of the society? Why do we have a higher percentage of our university graduates unemployed? That's the second question. The next question is this: in all honesty, are our graduates employable? The next one is, must we continue to train graduates who will only be white-collar job seeking applicants? As I've said, don't give me any answer, just answer it yourself. We go to the second step, and we'll be here to discuss, we're going to discuss advantages of entrepreneurial education. There are so many, but I've decided to pick on the major ones. And the first one is the advantage of entrepreneurial skill during recession and natural disasters.
a proper knowledge of all the major scriptures, whether you look at the Quran or the Bible or Memphis or Hindi Torahs and so on, you will discover that recession and natural disasters are as old as the creation of the world. They are recurring events among different nations of the world at different times. Effects of recession and natural disasters include, first and principally, unemployment, declined productivity and consumption, and of course, the natural mitigating step against this catastrophic effect is the establishment of individual or joint enterprises. The second point is pandemic. And coincidentally, we have just passed through one. We should say alhamdulillah that we are alive here today. We didn't go with COVID-19. Just like recession, pandemic, such as the recent COVID-19, leads to laying off of workers and consequential upsurge in mass unemployment. Once again, entrepreneurship provides a good way out. You remember during the COVID-19 when people were asked to even move out. You don't go to your place of work. Many people were laid off, many staff were laid off all over the world. How do you feed your family? You do that if you have an enterprise. Then we come to wealth creation. With daily advancements in technology, the need for human labor is decreasing regularly. Entrepreneurship provides routine augmentation for this. Remember in those days, you need to put 100 people to deweed this campus. But now with a tractor and just one operator, that job is done. So the only way we can make that very well is by entrepreneurial practice. As a matter of fact, wealth and a high majority of jobs are created by small businesses started by entrepreneurial-minded individuals, many of whom go on to create big businesses. The next point is innovations. Entrepreneurial education and practice tend to bring out the best in every entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs, therefore, appear to have more opportunities to exercise creative freedoms, higher self-esteem, and an overall greater sense of control over their own lives. Economic growth. Entrepreneurship is often associated with economic development, whereby economic development suggests activities that facilitate the improvement of the country and the society's standard of living. The next question you should ask yourself, why universities? If we must go entrepreneurial, why must we focus on university? And I will attempt to provide some answers to that. Universities all over the world perform three fundamental functions, namely teaching, research, and community development. They therefore create new inventions and knowledge. In addition, the highest form of formal education, which most people aspire to acquire, is university education. Therefore, universities are best suited for proper implementation of an entrepreneurial education policy for different nations. An entrepreneurial university integrates economic development into the university as an academic function, along with teaching and research. It is this capitalization of knowledge that is the heart of a new mission for the university, linking universities to users of knowledge, and establishing the university as an economic actor in its own rights. Nowadays, universities around the world are trying to become
more effective at entrepreneurial education. It may interest you, one of the first 3 vaccines for COVID-19 was discovered at Oxford University. That is the Oxford AstraZeneca. So that is the kind of thing we are talking about. Some universities struggle to stay competitive, while others try to generate new sources of income by monetizing research findings and intellectual property. Nonetheless, one major hurdle that the university system has to overcome is to prove to the society that its training and research findings bear relevance to the employment market. In other words, if you say if you're an engineer, they want to see you apply your engineering skill to improve the lot of the environment or the society. Let us now look at Nigeria as a case study. In Nigeria, conventional university education is a double tragedy affair. In the first instance, university admission is very tough and institution very expensive. Secondly, and sadly, successful completion does not guarantee employment in most cases. We have heard of cases of graduates attempting to perform the 1-year National Youth Service Scheme over and over, rather than staying with their parents without any means of livelihood. These factors are beginning to make many parents lose interest in sending their wards to the university. Sadly, the ugly trend in many communities in Nigeria nowadays is parents buying laptops for their children to learn cyber theft, called Yahoo, or ritualistic cyber crime, called Yahoo Plus. The solution to this destructive national malady should be a deliberate paradigm shift in favor of entrepreneurial education in our universities, since it is becoming obvious that our conventional universities can no longer lead to any meaningful individual or national development. Let's consider a few processes. The first one, which I've witnessed, which people from Lagos can confirm, is that untrained people who sell soda, they call it soda, that's sodium hydroxide, or colorants, or perfumes at Ojota in Lagos are on the average multimillionaires. Yet, chemistry graduates who are authorities in those chemicals are still busy looking for jobs. Auto mechanical engineers, most of the time, will require the service of roadside mechanics to repair their personal cars. Graduates of theater arts are desperately looking for jobs, whereas those who are yet to see the forwards of any university are not only rich, courtesy of Nollywood movies, but are societal celebrities. Many will regret studying education in the university because they will tell you high unemployability of the discipline. Yet, ordinary business people are daily establishing thriving private and secondary schools. They have even started establishing private universities now, successfully. Agriculture is considered by many of his graduates as a means to nowhere. Yet, ordinary people are smiling to the banks daily from proceeds from fish cropping, snail rearing, etc. Plant science is considered by many of his students as a course discipline with no hope of employment. Yet, many people make millions from ethnobotanical application on daily basis. There are popular Okolonyus and so on, you know them. You hear the adverts. A graduate of Yoruba language will always ask, where is the job for me? Yet, non-graduates are making waves, designing Yoruba wares and food recipes. We can go on and on and on. But I think we should stop with those few posters. Let us now look at the history of entrepreneurial education so that it won't appear as if we are doing something out of context. Towards the end of the 1920s, the economy of the United States suffered a great decline, which eventually led to the Great Depression of the 1930s. During this period, many people were jobless, hungry, and homeless. Consequently, that was the origin of entrepreneurial study. Consequently, the search for a viable alternative source of wealth generation commenced, since, according to the teacher of the mastermind, Plato, our need will be the real creator. That is what people have now coined to be necessity is the mother of what? Invention. So necessity made the Americans to start looking inward. Therefore, University of Michigan is reported to have pioneered entrepreneurial education in 1927. This was followed in succession by Harvard Business School in 1947, University of Texas, Austin in 1964, Babson College in 1967, and University of Southern California in 1971. In the United Kingdom, entrepreneurial education, let's put it inside the cup, sorry. Entrepreneurial education was initially considered as a deviant form of academic behavior. You know, I mentioned it earlier. So, no, universities are not established to teach people jobs. They are supposed to put theory into their head. The origin of entrepreneurship education in the UK can be traced back, nonetheless, to the early 1970s. Thank you. Prior to that time, British business schools, modeled after the American schools, had been in existence in the UK since the mid-1960s, but had focused extensively on developing the managerial cadres required by the large firms and the public sector. A paradigm shift was, however, introduced by the Manchester Business School in 1971. This was followed in quick succession by Sheffield Polytechnic, Durham University, London Business School, and Crayfield Institute of Technology. Entrepreneurial education in the rest of the world. Following the successful implementation of entrepreneurial education in the United States of America and the United Kingdom, many countries of the world now have it incorporated into their educational curricula, even from elementary school in many instances. In many parts of the world, university entrepreneurial education is viewed as a tool to stimulate national economic growth. Entrepreneurial education in Nigeria. As of today, there are more than 3,000 universities in more than 50 countries in the world with entrepreneurial education as part of their academic programs. Nigeria is one of the late entries into this revolutionary system. Although I have no data to back my next statement, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my God's feeling is that Nigeria joined the entrepreneurial education race late because for a long time in this country, money was not our problem, but what to do with it. Apology to our respected former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon. However, the advent of Andrew checking out of Nigeria made our leaders to start thinking of ways to stem increasing youth unemployment, especially among university graduates who find emigration to the Western world a viable alternative. Consequently, a review of the national policy on education led in 2004 to a policy that explicitly shows the pathway to the introduction of entrepreneurial education in the country. The national policy on education defines the primary goals of university education in Nigeria to include the following. 1. Contributions to national development through high-level relevant manpower training. 2. Developing the intellectual proper values for the survival of the individual and society. 3. Developing the intellectual capability of individuals to understand and appreciate their local and external environments. 4. Acquisition of both physical and intellectual skills, which will enable individuals to be self-reliant and useful members of the society, among others. Those were the key parts of the policy. The promulgation of the national policy on education was followed in 2006 by the introduction of entrepreneurial studies in the benchmark for minimum academic standards of Nigerian universities by the National Universities Commission, NUC. It is obvious from these provisions that universities in the country are expected to develop entrepreneurial skills among the undergraduates. My personal quarrel with the implementation of the policy. The introduction of entrepreneurial studies into BMAS of the Nigerian university system by NUC, in my opinion, was to revolutionize the concept of tertiary education in Nigeria with attendant production of job-creating graduates. I'm therefore not in total agreement with the way most of our universities have been interpreting this laudable vision of the NUC. In order to align with the requirements of the NUC, most universities in the country keep looking for lecturers with knowledge in entrepreneurial or allied courses. Since there is a gross shortage of such manpower, invariably most of our institutions will pick some skills upon which the student will be trained in batches. What is in vogue in most of our institutions, therefore, is to expose their students to some popular skills, such as farming, bakery, tie and dye, textile, fashion designing, hairdressing, and a few others. Some of the questions I keep asking myself, which I think anybody that thinks the way I think should ask: why should an engineering student be interested in snail farming, for instance? Is his or her knowledge of engineering useless? What is the business of a computer science graduate with production of candles? What is the relationship between theater arts and bread making? Of course, someone might argue that any of this is good for the overall development of a university graduate. I agree perfectly. But such should remain as part of GNS courses for general knowledge acquisition. That is my opinion. Now we come to my opinion and how it affects Summit University Offa. In my considered opinion, the best way to actualize the expectation of the NUC is to bring out the entrepreneurial aspect of each and every discipline in our academic curricula. Practical courses would then be designed for the teaching of this important aspect of study in the university. Thereafter, incubators, workshops, innovation centers, etc. will be established throughout the university. This was the way our university, Summit University Offa, was conceptualized by the Foundation Project Implementation Committee of the university, which I had the honor to chair. The original focus of the founding fathers of our university was to make it different from conventional ones in the country. Specialized courses were therefore proposed for its takeoff, while routine science courses were modified and designed towards entrepreneurial goals. Unfortunately, however, an unnecessary reconstruction of the Project Implementation Committee of the university led to the presentation and subsequent approval of conventional programs for the takeoff of the university. As a result, the university in its first 5 years of establishment, with a total student population of less than 300, was plagued with financial insufficiency and consequential obscurity. We are grateful to the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that those dark days are fast disappearing in our university. Let me at this juncture therefore salute our pace-setting VC, Professor Musa Ibinu, for turning our university into a competitive center of excellence in the field of mechatronics in the country. Thereby bringing visibility into the university. Permit me to equally appreciate the council under the leadership of Alhaji Rafiu Ebiti for the choice of this innovative young man among other eminently qualified candidates. What remains is a well-planned complementary rearrangement of our courses to complement these laudable efforts without breaching the provisions of the National Universities Commission. We need to go back to the drawing board to refocus our university in an entrepreneurial and innovative pathway. Presently, our mission statement, and that's what I read. If it's wrong, please, I accept my unreserved apology. Our mission statement is to be a topmost agency for personal fulfillment as well as national development. May I suggest that we consider modifying this statement in line with the dreams of the founding fathers of our university. In this regard, please permit me to propose a mission statement which will encapsulate not just the dreams of the founders, but a reflection of the present focus in the university. And the proposal is as follows: making Summit University Offa the leading tertiary institution in the provision of entrepreneurial skill acquisition, which will make it the leader in developmental innovations among its peers. When we perfect our pathway to entrepreneurial studies and innovations, inshallah, perhaps we shall catalyze the NUC to redraw its benchmark for minimum academic standards for various courses in the Nigerian universities. Let me, at this point now, give synopsis of entrepreneurial opportunities in some of the programs that we have presently. For the avoidance of any ambiguity, let me state unequivocally that every discipline offered in any university contains valuable entrepreneurial aspects. The only problem is that most of them are glossed over during theoretical instructions. And I'll give you one example that will be known to science students, particularly chemistry students. For instance, one of the oldest entrepreneurial parts of chemistry is the reaction of an aqueous alkali with fat or oil. This is the process that leads to the production of soap. And you know soap is a daily consumable. But what do you find in the textbook? In the textbooks, what is available is the understanding of that process as a good example of hydrolysis of fats in what is called saponification. As a matter of fact, most questions will say define saponification. Thereafter, attention will shift to the cleansing parts of soap, polar divergence in the structure of soap, and invariably relationship with hard or soft water. That discussion in any university will be silent on how to obtain soap and how to improve its quality by adding colorants and perfumes. That is what people will do outside, and you even have to go and buy. Similarly, a student of banking and finance will know all the theories of banking and all the financial regulations, but will not be taught the technique of becoming a modern-day Alajo Shomolu. With the above at the back of our minds, let me attempt to highlight some of the entrepreneurial opportunities in some of the programs we are offering currently. We'll start with chemistry and allied departments. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Charity, they say, begins at home. It is therefore incumbent on me to use my discipline as a case study of entrepreneurial opportunities. And I'll start by telling you production of household chemicals. We have all heard of vinegar. Vinegar is simply dilute acetic acid. And it is used for cleaning, washing hair, preserving food, and improving skin function. It is also used in all sorts of recipes, including salad dressing and soups, hot drinks, and many more. And you could easily produce this from ethanol. And you could produce your ethanol from so many cheap natural sources. The second one I want to talk about, the household use, is Epsom salts. You have all heard of Epsom salt. We all know it. This is hydrated magnesium sulfate. And it serves a lot of purposes in the home. It eases stress and relaxes the body. It relieves pain and muscle cramps, helps muscle and nerves function properly, helps prevent hardening of arteries and blood clots, makes insulin more effective, relieves constipation, and eliminates toxins from the body. The next one, which I have talked about before, is our common friend that we cannot do every day without visiting: soap. And that is our popular saponification process, as I said earlier on, between an aqueous alkali and fats, oil or lipids. And we all know the uses of soap. Then washing soda. Washing soda is simply hydrated sodium carbonate. And that is what is used in the waterworks, and which you can also use to purify your water at home from your well or from your borehole. Then comes baking soda. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate, or what some people call bicarbonate of soda. And it is a famous antacid. I remember my second year at the University of Ibadan, we prepared this in large sum in our lab, and we are giving friends that were having ulcer to use in the powdery form. It's famous as antacid for ulcer patients, as well as an additive responsible for the rise of products in the baking industry. Then sodium hydroxide is used for cleaning dirty ovens by virtue of its attack on the fat deposits in the oven to form soap. And we also have liquid ammonia, which has similar function like that of sodium hydroxide in cleaning sink. Let's now look at industrial chemicals. And we look at the manufacture of the following industrial needs. The first one is sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid, as you know, has a lot of application in the production of fertilizers, battery electrolytes, and several other things. Nitric acid, which is widely used in the production of fertilizer also, as well as cleaning of metals, and in the manufacture of explosives. I remember during the Alimos Go of 1978, I can say because it's gone now, we had ready in the chemistry department, prepared by students, we had TNT prepared in case the police invaded our campus, we were going to blow them to pieces. As well as production of many nitro compounds, which are used in the making of many artificial dyes. Then you have sodium carbonate, which is widely used in the glass, textile, soap, and detergent, paper, iron, and steel industries. You have caustic soda, which we have also discussed earlier on at the industrial level. You can also prepare paints. And by the time we start, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, by the time we commence, I can assure the audience that all the paints we'll be using on our campus will be produced by our students. Lead paint is a well-blended mixture of pigments, which is either white or red lead, binder, which simply linseed oil, thinners, turpentine, and dryers, which is a solution of organic compounds that contain lead, cobalt, and manganese. We can also, from that department, produce silicones, which are famously used for many purposes, such as additives in various types of polish, which are also used as insulators for electrical equipment. They are also used as sealing rings instead of rubbers, which will not last as long and be so tough like them. You can also use them as water repellents on textile, etc. I will also shock you by saying that right in that department, we can produce your synthetic gems, such as diamond. You can produce diamond. Diamond is just an allotrope of carbon. Is that not so? Yes. With density of 3.5, and you get your diamond out. We can also produce ruby and sapphire. These are different colored forms of aluminum oxide. We can also go into the production of man-made fibers, and there are two types. Those which are made from regenerated vegetable fibers, such as rayon, and those which are entirely synthetic, such as nylon. Viscose rayon, which accounts for about 80% of the total work of production of man-made fiber, for example, is made from a series of chemical processes on the pulp. The process includes action of caustic soda, followed by oxidation, reaction with carbon disulfide. We can also go into the production of, the processing of natural rubber. You remember in the old Western, well, the visitor and the elders here and our Women Advice Council members will recall in the good old days of the Western region, we had rubber plantation. And from that rubber plantation, workers were collecting latex every morning. And that latex was used to produce tires. The popular Ogbeni Oja Odutola tire soles in Ibadan, and so many. So we can go back to that to produce rubber boots and shoes, tires and tubes. We can also go into the production of ceramics from clay. All those stoneware, earthenwares that you see, those beautiful, expensive ceramics, tiles, they are nothing but clay. Clay. What is clay in Yoruba now? Armor. And you recall that our grandmothers were using them to prepare beautiful earthenwares. The only thing is that they were not using high temperature that the furnace will provide. They will smoke them and they become hardened and they look beautiful. Here we'll give you modern day earthenwares from ceramics. We can also go into Portland cement production. We can go into production of asbestos, glass, paper production and conversion. We can produce paper from the timber. But even if you don't do that, we can convert every waste of paper into useful, beautiful things like toilet rolls, napkins, and so on, so that nothing will be a waste. Because as I used to tell my students, I say the simplest way to define waste is that a waste is what you waste. Of course, we can also go into waste management. Sorry, it's a long time I have. Aha. Thank you. Waste management. Application of the knowledge of chemistry will lead to the underlisted entrepreneurial processing of waste. Because waste is money. Waste is money. For those people who are from Lagos, I can tell you, when I was a consultant to Loma, more than 600 million naira then exchange hand at Olushosu on daily basis. Waste is money. So application of knowledge of chemistry will lead to the following. One, conversion of waste polymer products, such as PVC. PVC is just polyvinyl chloride recycling, polystyrene recycling, high density polyethylene, HPD bottles recycling. You can recycle your carpets. We can recycle your PET bottles. We can recycle your scrap tire. And we can recycle your ABS. Of course, any of those PVC products themselves could be produced as byproducts of oil refining. And that's why we kept talking about establishment of petrochemicals in Nigeria. We shall get there very soon. Having said a bit about my department, let me take one or two other departments so that we can quickly round up. Physics department. Our physics graduates at the end of their training should be able to handle each of the following with ease. Construction of auto twilight solar security lights. Construction of 12-volt, 24-volt battery chargers. Construction of electronic signage. Construction of solar panels, just like the one that Mr. President and Visitor commissioned earlier on. Construction of solar traffic lights. construction of soil sterilizer, construction of low-medium wattage inverter system, conversion of AC power security light to DC solar system with automatic lightning, production of batteries and electrolytes, and generation of electricity from non-fossil sources. Computer Science Department. Mr. Visitor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our pace-setting Vice Chancellor has shown us that the normal computer science program could be pivotal to national security development in addition to many other applications of drone technology. That is why you have the commandant here. If our VC has not shown that what people will see as normal computer has relevance to the training of people in his area, the commandant will not leave his busy schedule and be here. We thank you for coming. In addition, our students of computer science will be trained to become players in the world of artificial intelligence, software development, and modeling. While still in school, our departmental student club should be engaged in developing online games and online sporting apps. At the end of the day, our computer science students, our computer science department should be able to house an innovation center, probably called a Normal Center or a Normal Valley, where production of computers and smartphones as well as other household electronics will be in vogue. Banking and Finance Department. As implied earlier on, a significant part of the training in the Banking and Finance Department of Summit University in the proposed dispensation will be what I would like to call the African Communal Financial Cooperative System. I coined that word, ACFCS. This will include, among others, daily contributions, weekly contributions, market day contributions, monthly contributions. You'll be surprised. I'm sure many of the elders here have taken part in one form or the other. You'll be surprised how good and how better they are. Let me give you an example. Don't let me illustrate. If you have a monthly contribution among 50 people that are honest, I emphasize honest, and they decide to contribute 100,000. 100,000 in 50 places, how much? That's 5 million. The first day they are meeting, one of them will come with 100,000. He or she will go back home with 5 million, less administrative charge or something. What could be better? If the person is putting that money on a thriving, productive business, he or she will have enough profit to be contributing 100,000 every month until that regime is over. Apart from helping to grow the business of subscribers, each of these will create gainful employment for canvassers and staff. In addition, students will be knowledgeable in the practical aspects of Islamic banking. Other programs. In the final analysis, Colleagues in other disciplines across the whole spectrum of the university, and not maybe consultant outside too, will be motivated to prepare detailed curricula in various entrepreneurial aspects of their disciplines. What comes next? The first step is for this presentation to be subjected to the consideration of the various organs of the university, leading eventually, if found worthy, to its adoption by the Council and Senate of the university. After that, the next step will be its implementation. The implementation of this proposal will come in phases, and these phases are sensitization of the stakeholders, training the trainers workshop 1, identification of entrepreneurial skills across the various academic disciplines in the university, training the trainer workshop 2, procurement of equipment and materials, training workshops, production, marketing of products, review of academic curricula in the university, construction of workshops and production sites. I'll briefly elaborate on each of them. Sensitization of the stakeholders. This important segment is necessary not only to create awareness among the generality of the university, but importantly, to bring out the creative thinking of some other members of the university community in a way that will make the scheme more robust and beneficial. In this regard, the stakeholders shall be subdivided into the following: Council and Management, Senate of the University, General Staff Assembly, and then the powerful General Student Assembly. Training the Trainers Workshop 1. To kickstart this new orientation, consultants in some of the skills identified will be invited to train members of staff. It's important. They are going to train members of staff who in turn will be well equipped knowledge-wise to train our students subsequently. Identification of entrepreneurial skills across the various academic disciplines. In this segment, the university will demand from colleges and departments comprehensive list of possible entrepreneurial skills in their various sections. Of course, there may also be financial remuneration to motivate people. That could be worked out between the council and management. This will be collated by the Directorate of Entrepreneurial Studies of the university and experts invited to execute. Training the Trainer Workshop 2. This workshop is expected to cut across all the various disciplines in the university. It will provide an unprecedented opportunity for staff to appreciate the money-making aspects of their disciplines. Procurement of equipment and materials. At this level, the stage will be set for the purchase of equipment and materials needed for a comprehensive entrepreneurial practice. In situations where the cost of procurement is beyond the capability of the university, the lease rent strategy shall be adopted. Training workshops. With the availability of equipment and materials, the trained members of staff will in turn train their students. Production. When we get to that stage, the university will have become a beehive of entrepreneurial activities. Marketing of products. It is estimated that there will be many marketing points for the various products coming out of the entrepreneurial scheme. Some will be sold on sites, while others will be transported to the various outlets of the Summit University Ventures Limited. Review of academic curricula in the university. Without any doubt, at this stage, all the members of the university community ought to be so excited about a review of the various academic curricula to incorporate the new vision. Construction of workshop and production sites. The final stage will be the construction of workshops and production sites strictly from the proceeds of sales of products from the scheme. It will not just be self-sufficient, it will bring in a lot of money to run university. Now we come to requirements from the university. For a successful implementation of this proposal, the university must do the following. 1, offer more practical courses, blending the various theories in the textbook with the tangible needs of everyday business management. Establish student entrepreneurs, and they should be assisted by the university to establish their businesses. Create an environment for students who want to build a company inside the university. Establish a research and linkage directorate that will liaise with the industry in order to find out how the university could help them in achieving their goals more profitably and thereby cement the notable town and gown symbiosis. Conclusion. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I do hope that in this short presentation, I have succeeded in convincing you and the audience that the way to reach the summit, as our name depicts, is to chart an entrepreneurial course which will catalyze a meaningful pathway for staff and students of our university so as to make their knowledge relevant to the needs of the society in addition to making it useful to them. If you are not, I can see you nodding. If you are not, it's a confirmation of that hope. Please permit me to say, Mr. President and visitor to the university, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, happy landing on the sun. Thank you.
Another round of applause for our distinguished lecturer of the day. Thank you very much. Please sit down. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you will agree with me that Professor Babatunde Munir Ogunsanwo has given us a blueprint on entrepreneurship that will make Summit University an entrepreneurial university. Please give him a round of applause again. Next on the agenda is question and answer session. We're going to just give opportunity for 2 questions, one from the male as well as another from the female. Please, can I see your hands up? Okay, Dr. Sombe, please step forward. Okay, any lady? Please, Dr. Sombe, step forward, please.
All protocols duly observed. Mr. Guest Speaker, sir, with your nod on giving this request by our registrar that it should be flown in the air, I was thinking of a typical Nigerian mindset of hijacking ideas. Shouldn't we be careful on erring on the side of caution? That is 1. 2, I want to say that did you not miss the human element? Call it psychological dynamics of the community in Nigeria, and they are wanting to do Olado Oyinbo kind of things when they are not really Oyinbo. Thank you.
Yes, I want to thank you for that. That very thoughtful question. You see, my attitude is this. You go to an architect to design a house for you, and he gives you a drawing. Even if you put your drawing on Google or online, 99% of people will still not build your house. So, I know you're talking of protection of intellectual property. Yes. But it takes great determination for an institution to shift from the conservative view to what we are talking about. That's one. Two, it takes a lot of in-depth planning. Each of those items that I've mentioned and others that will come comes more from inspiration. So, which they may not even have. So let it go on. It doesn't take the championship from here. And no matter how they do it, you can never interpret the dream better than the dreamer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We still have opportunity for one more question from the ladies. But if we don't, good ladies and gentlemen, I want to do a quick amendment to the program, and that is by inviting our amiable Vice Chancellor to give appreciation to the distinguished audience. Thank you.
Once again, salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can we say it better? Can we say it better? Yeah, before going further, can we just say Jazakumullah khairan to our speaker for today? Yorùbá will say, tọmọdé bá gorí pẹ̀tẹ́ẹ̀sì, nǹkan tí àgbà ń rí kò lè ṣe kí ni o, kò lè rí. Ẹ jẹ́ a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Okay, before going further, what I just want to also share with us is that our father has actually encapsulated all what we have been doing. We have all heard about entrepreneurship. That is, how are we going to be turning our academic ideas into what? Business ventures. And you will now stand up and give Prof another standing ovation. Again, number one is what? Financial. Number two. Number three. Number four. Number five. Number six. Number seven. Citizenship. So I can tell Prof, sir, we are going to study that document extensively, set up a committee for its implementation, and then present it before the council. Don't also forget the vision. Developing what? Innovations and inventions that will be what? Changing the way we live what? In our community and work in our community and defend our nation. So without much ado, I just want to, on this note, express our profound gratitude to all our guests from Lens Polytechnic, from from Nigerian Navy School of Health Sciences, Federal Polytechnic Offa, Kwara State College of Health Technology, Graceland Polytechnic, Federal Polytechnic Ayede, and other partners that are here from the community and some of our colleagues from other universities. Again, to the national president, ADCN, and the visitor to the university. Once again, sir, we say thank you for believing in us, and thank you for giving us that shoulder to stand upon. We are assuring you that we are going to transform this university to the spirit and the idea Prof have said that as conceived by the founding father of the society. Once again, we are grateful to our mothers and our fathers. Ilé tí ẹ fi sílẹ̀ àti gbogbo ọ̀nà tí ẹ fi sílẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá wọ́n ní a fi tiẹ̀ sílẹ̀ gbọ́ tẹni ẹlẹ́ni kí ló máa ń ṣe o Ọlọ́run ọba ló máa ń bá ṣe kí ni ló máa ń bá gbọ́ bọ́tà wá fi tiẹ̀ sílẹ̀ gbọ́ ti ṣe Olúwa kí lẹ fi ìpò máa ṣẹlẹ̀ so Ọlọ́run ọba ẹlẹ́san yóò sọ wá ní ẹ̀san dáadáa o gbogbo dáadáa tí a fi sílẹ̀ àdélébáre ni gbogbo ẹ̀ máa jẹ́ o gbogbo retí àrò kan Ọlọ́run bá tún wá ṣe ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ fún wa o gbogbo aburú tí àrò kan Ọlọ́run á lè jìnnà sí wa o. Also to our students here, can we sit down please? To all our students, we are very grateful for your presence, and please be rest assured that all what the speaker has mentioned today, we are definitely going to implement them after passing it through the normal channel or the approved channel in the university. It's on this note our speaker is saying, I say thank you and God bless you all. Thanks a lot, sir. So I will invite, that serves as my own closing remark, but I will invite the registrar of the university for the vote of thanks and the final prayer to actually end today's event.
Thank you, sir. The Vice Chancellor, Summit University, Offa. On behalf of the proprietor, we are lucky to have our visitor in our midst, the President, the National and International President of Ansar-ud-Deen Society of Nigeria. On behalf of the proprietor, the Board of Trustees, the Governing Council of Summit University Offa, the Senate of the University, the management, staff, and students, we want to register our profound appreciation. First, to the visitor of the university. This is the first time that we have our visitor in our midst to participate in an official function of the university. Our Baba had to travel all the way from Lagos to attend this program. Jazakumullahu khairan. Secondly, I must give our sincere and special thanks and appreciation to our guest lecturer, Professor Babatunde Munir Ogunsanwo. We are very happy to have you in our midst. We are so delighted with your lecture, and we promise that we shall implement the blueprint that has just been given to us this evening. I want to also thank the representative of the Governing Council, the chairman of the council, who is unavoidably absent, but ably represented by no other person but our Professor Nuren Tanimowo. Thank you, Baba, for driving all the way from Oyo to Offa this afternoon. Then I give thanks to all members of the National Executive Council of Ansar-ud-Deen Society of Nigeria. You have been marvelous. You are our patron, and we appreciate your sacrifices, your donation in cash and kind. May Almighty Allah reward you. May Almighty Allah give you bountiful reward in least way you expect, beyond your imagination. May Almighty Allah bless you and bless your children. May Almighty Allah make this university one of the goodies that will count in our favor on Yawm al-Qiyam. I want to also give appreciation to our mothers, our Women Advisory Council of Ansar-ud-Deen Society of Nigeria. We appreciate you both at the national and the Offa level. We are grateful for gracing this occasion. Then we give thanks to all our invited guests, our tertiary institutions in Offa, the Naval School, College of Earth Technology, Lens and Graceland Polytechnic. We are grateful for the partnership, for the collaboration that you have been doing with Summit University of Offa. And we hope that this brotherly relationship will continue. Lastly, I want to give special thanks to our staff and, of course, the students who have been part of this success story. We pray to Almighty Allah to reward you all and crown all of our efforts with brilliant success. I will crown my gratitude by saying Jazakumullahu khairan. Please, I will move straight, sir, the Vice Chancellor, to the closing prayer. And I'm going to call on our Imam, Dr. Bashir Olanrewaju from Oyo State Council, to give us the closing dua for this important event.
Shall we all rise for the closing prayer? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. As-salatu was-salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar Allahu akbar Allahu akbar wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana wa hab lana min ladunka rahmatan innaka antal wahhab. Rabbana afrigh alayna sabran wa thabbit aqdamana wansurna 'ala al-qawmil kafirin.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, can we remain standing to take the national anthem? The national anthem.